We've discussed it before. Everybody's saying it's easy to make an AI pilot, but scaling up is difficult. And one of the reasons it's not that the technical scaling is difficult, it's that the organization scaling and the readiness for that, for the
Yeah.
change it brings is the hard part. So that for starts from the automation teams, but also goes down into the business level in many ways.
Hello and welcome to the Agent Workforce podcast. My name is Kristina Auberi. I lead marketing at Digital Workforce, and I'm joined by my co-host Niko Lehtonen, AI solution architect at Digital Workforce. How are you doing, Niko? Are you at the new office today?
Yes, I am indeed. First broadcast from the new office. Excited to be here. Second day at the office now, and it's looking good. It's looking really nice. Good job,
Yeah,
everyone who was involved.
absolutely. I was there yesterday, and it's very beautiful, and it's we've been busy among other things preparing for the office relocation in the past few weeks. So it's been a few weeks since we last chatted, but today we'll talk about Google's recent updates, the new documentary, The Thinking Game, and Microsoft Foundry, among others. So yeah, with that, let's kick off. So Google released some important updates, debuted actually on November 18th. So that was 2 weeks ago, a little over 2 weeks ago, and they released Gemini 3, which has been debuting at top of the leaderboards in the past few weeks until something new has come up from Anthropic as well. But it's a strong model from Google, Gemini 3, and also in the release notes, Google CEO Sundar Pichai released some interesting data points, such as that Google's Gemini app has surpassed 650 million users per month. And we also know that ChatGPT has like 800 million weekly active users. So there's still a bit of a gap between these two, but it's for sure that Google has picked up in this AI race for sure. And Gemini 3 has some very strong features in it. We know from Google that multimodality is important for them. We talked about world models previously and how Google's models are really strong in multimodality, understanding videos, understanding audio. And I haven't tried this use case myself, but someone said that you can actually like insert a video, I don't know, you playing tennis or whatever, and it give you guidance. How can you improve your game? So it's truly understanding what's in there. So reasoning, multimodality, and then something interesting as well is that they released Antigravity, which is their new coding app that competes directly with editors like Cursor and is being praised by its simplicity for non-developers and tight integration with Google Chrome for easy previewing. Have you had any look at this yet, Niko?
It's running as we speak. Very quick tries I've been doing. My go-to always with these apps is to go to the topics I know the most about. So I asked him to make a game, and I'll see how well that goes. What kind of game engine does it pick? How does it implement the different features and so on? And how far do I have to take the prompt? How much do I need to guide it to make something sensible out of it? I've not checked the results yet, but it's still running. And it's a big difference to how things were like just a year ago when you tried this with Cursor. I mean, based on how you instructed it, but if you didn't instruct it, it would just basically try and put everything into one file and that's it. And now already I can see that Antigravity has created 21 different files for this game. It's probably not going to run, but maybe I'll let you know in the next podcast what happens.
Yes, please do so. Yeah, some very good reviews of that, but of course people have faced some challenges as well. But we look forward to your comments on this. Something I've played around with a little bit is Nano Banana Pro that was launched like on the 20th of November, so 2 days after Gemini 3. It is their state-of-the-art image generation and editing model from Google. It's built on Gemini 3 Pro and it's using Gemini state-of-the-art reasoning and real-world knowledge again to visualize information better than ever before. And I have some mixed reviews of this myself. I'm not the best to prompting like these image generation tools, but I can show you some stuff that I've tried to create with it. So for those who can't see, I have a very typical slide ahead of me, which is like filled with text. It has 3 categories. So it's comparing RPA with robotic process automation, with intelligent automation and agentic AI. And it has lots of like different rows. And then it's describing things like core capability for each of these technologies and primary business benefit for each of these technologies. So it's really filled with text. It's not a keynote presentation slide or anything. But I played around with Google Gemini's or the Nano Banana Pro within Google Gemini, and I'm showing now one of the outputs I got from it, which is the evolution of enterprise automation from hands to autonomy, and from digital hands to digital brain and autonomous worker. And what's quite good in this, it's not overly beautiful or big four style or anything like that, but still it's quite good. For instance, with the way it's picking up the icons. So icons are quite illustrative of the content that it's describing, and which I didn't prompt specifically at all. So I gave a really basic prompt that I just want to have an illustration of this slide. And it took me a couple of iterations before I got here, but I didn't like instruct on the icon selection with anything. And I think the text is pretty much, I haven't compared every single word, but I think it's pretty much aligned what's with the original source materials. Definitely improvements there. And it's also within Google Slides. So if you use Slides, Google Slides, you can create the Nano Banana. But we can also see that it has come up with Digital Workforce logo on its own. So I haven't instructed it to use the right logo at all. But quite interesting. I can show another example. This was circulating on the internet. So I think it was basically from Zurich, the example, but it's with a pretty detailed prompt that I just copy pasted in Gemini, and it's about presenting clear top-down isometric miniature 3D cartoon scene of a city, and then you give the name of the city, and then it's picking up data like what's the date and how's the weather, and then it's taking the most like famous sightseeing and buildings of that particular city. But what we got out of Helsinki was not overly impressive. It also there's a typo in Helsinki. It says Helsinki. And it just invented the date because it's with December 14, 2024. And the sightseeings or the major buildings are not that good either. Then I gave it a try with my home city of Turku. So it does create the cathedral correctly and also the castle of Turku, but they're placed next to one another. But there's also the River Aura, which is, but quite it's not superly overly accurate, but some things are okay with it. But I mean, it's quite amazing that it's taking this information from the internet, what is descriptive for that particular city or location, and it's trying to combine data from different sources such as date and the current weather conditions, and also, the major like buildings and sightseeings and so forth. Have you, Niko, trialed with Nano Banana Pro?
No, I haven't. But looking at these examples you're giving, the first one based on our company slide, I took a look at the text. There's not a single typo there. No sort of hallucinative text written anywhere. Yeah, the points were on point. Definitely rephrased a bit, which of course is not a bad thing in itself. And then this one with the cities. I mean, this just goes to show that Turku has more sites than Helsinki, because you have to duplicate Helsinki's ones to even get 9 squares filled.
Yeah, of course, the former capital. Yeah, no, that's funny. But yeah, let's and you'll share us more on the anti-gravity later on, which was one of the major things in the Google updates as well. But something I also wanted to bring up here, that I watched the new documentary last weekend, which is called The Thinking Game. It's a new documentary, and it's telling the story of Google DeepMind. So the current AI unit of Google, and Google acquired DeepMind in 2014. And it was founded, one of the co-founders was Demis Hassabis, current CEO of Google DeepMind, and one of the leading minds and AI leaders in the world as of today. And this documentary tells the story of Demis Hassabis as a person, but then also how Google DeepMind was founded and what's the core mission. So their core mission is on the pursuit of artificial general intelligence, AGI. And this tells the story how far they've got towards their goal and how it was quite challenging in the beginning. They got a lot of like resistance from the academic world and also some struggles in getting funding and then the early steps and how they moved and also how they founded the company in London, where they were advised to do that in Silicon Valley, but they decided that they want to be in London, and also how they moved on from using games and cracking things with games like Atari and Go, moving on to AlphaGo. And then the famous, another super good documentary is the AlphaGo, which tells the story of when AlphaGo, the program developed by Google DeepMind, actually won Lee Sedol, the leading player in Go, in 2016. And there was this move 37, which is something that's quite often like quoted in the world of artificial intelligence, which was in a way, genuine move that a human would very unlikely have done at that point. But then also the story continues to AlphaZero and how they moved on to next level of games, which was StarCraft, and then how they took the leap to science with AlphaFold. And had they been like obsessed, Demis Hassabis has been obsessed with the protein folding problem and how they in the end like solved that, and also how they entered this competition called CASP, which is sort of the Olympic Games of protein folding, and how they in the end in 2020, which was the CASP number 14, how they finally solved the problem of protein folding after half a century. And many people were considering it's impossible to solve during their lifetime, but with AI, with the models that they've developed, they were able to resolve that. And of course, how they see the future and how they see their responsibility and concerns when we move forward in the pursuit of AGI. But a really, really warm recommendation to take an hour and a half and not to speed this up, but really to focus on the story and how it goes. So I really enjoyed watching this documentary on YouTube. You can find this on YouTube. I think you said, Niko, that's also on Apple, some of the Apple services, but here it's for free.
Yeah, I googled for this, and the first hit is of course the YouTube link. The second is that it's available on Apple Music for €5, but of
Okay.
course you don't have to pay for it if you watch it through YouTube. And Krista, I think you mentioned there's no ads in this one either.
No, no ads on this one. No, the AlphaGo. I also recommend that one, although it's still very relevant as of today. But no ads. They have decided not to put ads on these documentaries. Hey, I also wanted to, because ChatGPT turned 3 like 3 days ago, and it made me take a little bit of a look in my past with ChatGPT and a little bit of the memory lane. And I actually went back to find my very first chat with ChatGPT, because I recall setting the account up, and it was actually on the 2nd day of December 2022, which is today, exactly 3 days ago. 3 years ago today. And I wanted to find what was my first chat. Funnily, my first chats are missing. So I could actually, in my ChatGPT account, I could find the first chat was like from March 2023. And that really annoyed me. So I went and asked for the I exported all the chats and files. It's really good to have a backup anyway, in case that I lose this, because I have a lot of like chats and valuable information in there. So now I have the backup, and it was able to find some earlier chats as well, but actually not from 2022, which bothers me a little bit. But I was just looking at some of the old conversations and what I was asking back then, and it was quite funny. But with this, I want to ask Niko, what was your first like ChatGPT moment when you realized that we're we're into something big here, that this is going to change the way we work. So did you have that kind of a moment?
Yeah, I mean, I think I started out using it as a sort of writer for short stories and so on. Just wanted to, see what the capabilities are and so on. And the first time I used it, I think, was to give a letter of encouragement to a friend who had a writer's block writing their thesis. And I just said, "Hey, let's ask ChatGPT what's it gonna say?" And it came up with this very cliche text. Of course, it did. It's been 3 years now, but it still was quite interesting to see just how that was constructed in front of your eyes. And I don't think anybody could have said at that point that where we're going to be in the next 3 years. I mean, of course, there have been the projections that we are in AGI and whatever, but really, if you look at how AI and Gen AI is everywhere at the moment, it's a shift that for a normal person like us would have been very hard to predict on this scale. But yeah, I do remember the first time before I had used it, I got a congratulatory card, a physical postcard from my friends that they're written by hand, and the text itself was generated by ChatGPT. I didn't realize it when I first saw it, but it felt oddly formal and it's a style that my friends would not be using. I read it like 3 times and then I realized, oh, this AI is in it. And I said, yeah, yes, it is. Okay, thanks.
Yeah, we've come a long way from those days, and yeah, with the reasoning models and multimodality and all that. But yeah, nice to look back and see how it all got started in 2022. But hey, Niko, over to you. I know you've been working on some gap analysis stuff and also some updates on Microsoft Foundry, and so please, over to you.
Yep. Yeah. So yeah, I think in the very first episodes, we were talking about our AI accelerator program and so on. And the discovery workshops that we've been talking about in a couple episodes are a part of it. So is our sort of gap analysis, maturity assessment, where we go to an organization and we interview their people, we interview the process owners, we interview the automation program owners, the C level as well on what's the target for like hyper automation or AI implementation and adoption in general. Where should they be in 2 years or 5 years? And then through that we then interview the process owners, the business owners, and so on, and the automation teams, just to see how they're doing at the moment. How are their successes being measured? How do they manage their pipelines? What are the KPIs? What are the past projects? Is the ambition level matching what they want to do to how they do things at the moment? So it's that kind of a exercise. Takes a few weeks, about 3 weeks to 4 weeks, depends a bit on the scale, but we've been doing those now, and we're just finishing up with one, and it is quite interesting to always see how differently different organizations do this thing. There are going to be single points of failure in places you wouldn't think there are, and so on, and no organization has it perfect, obviously, but the point is to be able to point out that these are the things that you need to change. These are things you should change. And these are things you could change if you want to get the most out of where you want to be in the next years. I'm not going to go into too much detail on how it is with certain customers and organizations, so on. But it is an exercise that has really helped a lot of organizations to prepare for what's coming. We've discussed it before. Everybody's saying it's easy to make an AI pilot, but scaling up is difficult. And one of the reasons it's not that the technical scaling is difficult, it's that the organization scaling and the readiness for that, for the change it brings, is the hard part. So that starts from the automation teams, but also goes down into the business level in many ways. But yeah, I think you also mentioned Microsoft Foundry. Indeed, that was re-released last week, 2 weeks ago, something like that. So There's no more Microsoft Azure AI Foundry. There's now just Microsoft Foundry. I think that's a welcome update in terms of the name. And if you go and take a look at the Foundry now, there's a preview mode that you can use. And in there, they have their own agent builder, which they hadn't before. And this is a low code version of the of what they've had before. And in there, you can build your own agents. It looks visually very similar to how OpenAI's agent builder looked like. But when you start looking at the different things you can do there, you can see that there's much more variety in the Microsoft one. For now, there's more control on what you can do and so on. But it'll be interesting to see how this evolves. Obviously, like I said, this is all in preview for now. So are we going to see a race between Microsoft and OpenAI now when they should be very much in the same boat? That'll be something to watch for the next months on this agent builder side. But I will say that with the Microsoft agent builder, of course, it's easier to integrate with Microsoft products. So you can build your agent network, agent workflows that are then connected to, Microsoft Teams. So your human in the loop is in Microsoft Teams. And that's going to make businesses quite happy. No need to get new user interfaces for these single, new business application solutions. You can just do the communication on Teams. It'll be so much easier for many. Depends a lot on the use case, but in many cases, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. Finally, maybe about Anthropic also launched Opus 4.5. Have you had any experiences with that yet?
I'm not used to it yet. I've only been on the Sonnet 4.5. Been so happy with it, I haven't even tried Opus yet.
All right. So to be shared maybe in the next episode. Anything else you wanted to share us today?
Yeah, I think that's it. What I am liking with Antigravity is that it also has the Claude Sonnet 4.5 here. So it's even easier for me to compare this with Cursor after a few tries. So yeah, looking forward to reporting on how this is going.
Okay, we hear that next time then. Okay, thanks so much, Niko, for your time and breaking it down for us today. And I wish you all a wonderful week ahead and speak soon. Take care.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.